We are Group 1 and we are going to evaluate the methodology for collecting the data of the report, striving for multi-pronged land supply. To begin with, I will talk about the good things from the data collection method of this report. Before conducting the data collection, there are meetings between legislative councillor, professional, media, and the task force on land supply. They exchange ideas on the public consultation, which held the fairness of the survey. Also, the task force has done a wide range of promotion and publicity, such as distributing pamphlet, releasing short videos on social media. This has given the public an education on the issue of land supply in Hong Kong. The public would then have time to think about the option and give better quality of responses during the view collection period. For the data collection methods, this report has used a wide variety of ways, including active and passive ways, collecting quantitative and qualitative feedbacks. The quantitative method includes providing view collection form in paper and on the internet. 30,000 forms were received for understanding the majority intention, while the task force also actively made randomized telephone survey, obtaining huge amount of comment from public engagement, social networks, meetings with professional and media reports. Public can also express their view through email, hotline, postal, and in person. Huge amount of qualitative feedback were obtained through this wide variety of methods for understanding the detailed concern of the public. All these methods has made the result of this survey look fair and more trustworthy. Moreover, it is good that the task force aimed at collecting opinions from all kinds of people, like the young generation, professionals, and the silent majority, which are the people most difficult to reach. To deal with it, the active method I mentioned previously, like the telephone survey, was designed to reach the silent majority. Also, ethnic minorities were taken care to learn and express their view on the issue. It shows that the task force really treasure the view from everyone and want to listen to different opinion. Lastly, the 5-month duration is just perfect. It wasn't too long so the public would be more decisive on their choice, and it wasn't too short that the public have not enough time to respond. All in all, this report has a good framework of data collection.
Now we are going to talk about the problems found in the methodologies, and the first one is the outdated telephone sampling. In the study, about 2,009 telephone samples are found, while mobile phone samples is just about 1,000. However, landline telephones is no longer common today, while mobile phone is almost owned by everyone, so it leads to biased sample. What about the people that have 2OZ and cannot be accessed by landline telephone? Therefore, it proposed that only mobile phone sampling should be given so that everyone can be assessed equally. The second problem is the discouraging questionnaire design. In the physical questionnaire, people are asked to send back the questionnaire by mail, which is very discouraging. And even though online form exists, no direct link is given in the questionnaire. People may give up easily because it is too annoying for them. Therefore, we propose that a QR code links to the online form should be given so that people are more willing to complete the form. The third problem is the lack of necessary information. In the questionnaire, only the releasing land area of an option is given, but its cost is never mentioned at all. Therefore, people may tend to choose the option with the largest area without considering its feasibility. For example, the East Lantau Metropolis Plan proposed by the government has much more area than developing brownfield area. But is it always a better solution? People may be misled. The final problem is the biased public opinion. The opinion collected in the study is not filtered and its quality is questioned. For example, in the blog session, almost all the view comes from the same website, and this single website covers 80% of views in this session. And at the same time, the views of the governor is collected as well, but can they really represent public opinion?
Based on the above-mentioned obstacles and loopholes of the current existing questionnaire system, the new method that used to spearhead the questionnaire and data collecting will be as followed. The first one is the qualitative measure, which is targeted at the teenagers and the youth. It is using the social media to collect the data via some questionnaire or simple commenting on a particular land use issue. As currently most teenagers are deemed politically apathetic by the general public, so they may have some of these symptoms, like seldom attend city forum, rarely and never read gazettes, and only look at the TV news or newspapers sometimes. Therefore, they may not able to get the now existing issues on some of the current particular news. And of course, this newly implemented method may face some foreseeable and imaginable limitations. The first one being the lack of coverage from the social media. They may not be large enough to extend to the horizon of the teenagers. And in case these teenagers are not the subscriber or followers to these Facebook pages or commentators, in the event of our land use issue have some pulling, and they may miss this opportunity to express their inner feels on this land use issue. The second one is the commenting or the trolls. The trolls in the internet, meaning that the people just randomly type something and express their comments but not answering the question very seriously. And it may appear in the online forum as a very common phenomenon in the internet world. To solve these limitations, we have some suggested solutions. The first one is being more aligned with the teenagers' lifestyle, with most teenagers nowadays spend most of their time on electronic devices, scrolling through social media pages like Facebook and Instagrams, and we love to cooperate the online newspaper forums on this social media. And because all online newspaper has a relatively large pool of subscribers, and one part of it are teenagers, so there is a larger chance that it will increase the coverage of the teenagers and they can see the effect of land use commentating or poolings. And despite the discrepancies of agenda from each newspaper, we believe that the comment we can collect is relatively true and has a large cover of the youth. To solve the trolling problem, we have decided not to allow the teenagers to look at others' answers because this is to avoid the flock psychology and not to be influenced by others' opinion, and maybe possibly they're including some of the radicals. And it will encourage the teenagers to spill out their genuine and sincere thoughts on the land use issues.
Have you ever wondered why sometimes your word can't just simply get into people's mind? Is it because it's not powerful enough? Nope, maybe it's just not attractive enough. Imagine today the government says, you will receive $4,000 in your bank account. What will happen? Everyone will notice that, and everyone will tell everyone else. And this is the power of monetary incentives. Why will you be eager in joining this scheme? Because you can easily get benefits from it by just handing in a filled-in form. So why don't we use this method when we are having problems in surveying of land use issues? Of course, people will judge about the possibility of having this solution.
What if the government will have to distribute that amount of money when there's a huge problem every time? Wow, the government treasury is going to the bottom. How are you going to solve it? And who's going to do all of this administrative work, huh?
Of course, there will be some suggested solution to deal with all these limitations. So, how are we going to do it? Do the government really have to distribute that amount of money at a time? No. Let's just make it simple, like having the monetary incentives in tax reduction. People who has done the survey can get tax reduction, or maybe a small amount of money that will be enough to attract different kinds of people. Let's say $500. Also, do we have to go through all these complicated filling in forms procedures that we are doing now? Of course, the answer is no. And we will suggest the government to develop an online questionnaire system that record everyone's bank account number and their voices that were $500.